Pastor Stewart Waterhouse. It was 10 minutes after midnight. Today's topic, well, what are you going to do post-apocalypse to defend your sheep against the wolves? Because they are coming, and after the apocalypse, well, you won't be able to call for much help. You have to be self-reliant. So today, I'm going to show you what you need. We'll start with right here. This is a air gun. It's a pellet gun, but it's not like a pellet gun from the old days. The pellets are much bigger. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so in the old days, this is the size of pellet, right? Today, the gun I showed you, that's the size of pellet. And as you can see, it's a huge difference. Not the same at all. You know, one is like, I don't know, 5 grains, and the other's like 55 grains. Huge difference. This will take down a wolf. I verified it. I don't shoot my sheep or my goats. I love my pets, and they're all my pets, okay? But I had a dead sheep, and so to test it out, I propped the sheep's head about 15 feet away, and then I shot it, and I repeated it several times to make sure it's repeatable. Shooting it between the eyes, and then I took a skill saw and I cut the skull directly in half to see how far it penetrated and what the damage was. And like I said, it was already a dead sheep. I don't shoot live sheep. And basically, it penetrated the skull reliably, and went clear through the brain and lodged on the back side of the skull. Did not exit. So this would be a minimum of what you need, okay? And as I said, a 30 caliber pellet is not like an old child's toy pellet gun, which would not do the trick. An old pellet gun barely kills a chicken, if that. This one, of course, will do the job. It is, however, an entry-level gun. That's why I recommend it to you for your first air rifle. You do not need a permit to operate it in most United States jurisdictions, or to own it. You can go purchase it over the counter without any type of license. This particular one, the reason I recommend it is the most powerful of the break barrel. And by break barrel, the barrel does that, and that cocks it, and then it's ready to fire, okay? It has a gas piston internally, and when you cock it, it compresses the gas piston. You can see down inside there where it is. And then when you pull the trigger, it releases the air to drive the pellet, okay? More expensive pellet guns are called PCPs because they have an air tank, which you'd have to pump up with a pump that looks similar to a bicycle tire pump. I will, in my next video, show you what I recommend there, because they are far more powerful and can be semi-automatic. This one is a single shot. That's all you get for one pump, is a single shot, and you only pump it once. It's not a child's gun because the stock is too long for a child. It barely fits me, but it does fit. Also, it's way too hard for a child. The child doesn't have the strength to bring it down. So it's definitely an adult gun with longer arms. If you have a short arm, this one's not for you. But I recommend it as an entry level, so you can try it out, see if you can use an air rifle for your purpose. And post-apocalypse, you need this at a minimum. How else are you going to fend off a coyote? You know, there's a story, which is true. I met this child in Texas, and the child had half of his head shaved and had some stitches. And I said, what happened? And so the parent told me the story. A cougar had come into the urban population among the houses from the wildlands and grabbed the child by the head, was dragging had the whole child picked up in the air, held it by the head, you know, and was dragging it across the front lawn. Somebody in a pickup saw it happening. They stopped, they grabbed their truck gun, and they shot the cougar dead and saved the child's life. Okay, so you need to be able to protect your children too, not just your sheep. And this makes a good truck gun. Okay, so it'd be a good beginner's gun for you to learn the principles of a pellet, and then after that you can retire to the truck gun. It's built like a tank. It's reliable. It will never break down. Absolutely reliable. Made in Turkey. The brand name is Hatsan. It's a 30 caliber. They say it's a single shot. So you load the pellet by poking it right here. Let me grab the pellet and show you. So you just load it by poking the pellet into the barrel there, and then you bring it closed, and you're loaded and good to go. As I said, next week I will introduce you to more powerful ones. This is the minimum of what you need. More powerful, you know, they hunt Cape buffalo with the bigger ones. And yeah, a powerful one's great for hunting. This one's bare minimum. It's only 600 feet per second, producing foot-pound energy of somewhere between 30 to 34 feet per pound. So that's absolutely minimum of what would be acceptable. And that's because it is a break barrel. Because it compresses an air piston, you can leave it cocked, unlike your old spring pellet guns. The spring ones, the spring would weaken if you left it cocked, you know, and then your gun wouldn't be as powerful. This one is air, so it's just compressed air, it doesn't matter. And let's see, you'll want to put a sling on the gun. It gives you a 3-point attachment, see? It's solid, 1, 2, 3. And that way your gun doesn't shake. You can hold it steadily with just one arm, and far more accurate. And then the next thing you're going to want to do is put optics. This is a Romeo. Optics start out at 125 bucks. The gun is about 300 bucks, maybe 250, depending where you buy it. So that's your cost. This particular optic has sub extension reticles in it, which will give me a wider variety of distances to accurately shoot at. So this one costs more, but either way, it's a red dot optic. Red dot means you can keep both eyes open when you aim, and you see a red dot is where you're going to hit. And by having both eyes open, your situational awareness, you know, you don't get that tunnel vision. So you see something coming from the side, it's much better. And you see it just mounts right on here. And so that's what you need. Of course, it has iron sights too, if that's what you prefer. But you know, I'm older, my eyes are older, iron sights just don't do it anymore. So I have good optics, I mounted on it. And let's see, your range, well, you would want to sight it in for this particular gun at 600 feet per second, 30 caliber. You would sight it in at about 75 feet, which would give you a range out to, you know, point blank range to say 90 feet. But if you want to use the sub extensions, I'll put it up on the screen. See that it will go out to many yards, and you'll know your yardage based on the sub extension where you'd want to be your aim point. And so yeah, pick one up. You're definitely going to need it, and because the apocalypse is coming and you have to protect yourself. And this does it. You know, this adjusts the cheek weld to get your cheek higher or lower so it lines up with your optics for a quick aim. Yeah, so you know, if a dog comes and attacks my sheep, I certainly am able to defend him. You have a quick release here on the for your sling. Up front here is baffles. The baffles will quiet it. Yeah, an air gun can be very loud. So the baffling helps quiet it. So your actual barrel is about 10 inches. And so at 10 inches, that's why it's not so powerful. Also, that's why it's not as accurate. This would do about 1-inch groups, which is good enough. If you can do a 1-inch group at 75 feet, you're great. But next week I'll talk about some that will do 1/4 inch groups out to 100 yards. So tune in next time. Thank you. Goodbye.